Hello friends, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Kids Corner, where my goal is to entice you enough by talking very briefly about some of the new books in the children's room that you suddenly feel the urge to check them out and pick them up with curbside. So today we are going to be talking about 5 different books. One is a chapter book, one is a graphic novel, 2 are picture books, and 1 is a nonfiction book. But before we do that, I just want to say that we have a new item available for checkout. It is available only by giving us a call or requesting a curbside appointment through our curbside appointment form. That should be up sometime next week, so not yet, but you can give us a call to tell us you want one. And that is our new kids literacy kits. Wow, the camera's really blown out. You probably can't see that. So this is what one of them looks like. This one's going to be going into quarantine after this because I'm touching it without gloves and a mask on. But this is what they look like. They each come with 5 books, a learning toy, a CD or DVD, and a laminated song sheet. And I'll go ahead and show you what's inside real quick. So it comes in a plastic backpack. Is it weird that I want one of these for myself? Look, it's bright orange. I love it so much. Okay, so it comes in a plastic backpack. This is the farm literacy kit. So we have All About John Deere special edition. So this is a DVD TV show all about trucks, which we know the truck-loving kids just really go nuts for. It's got a board book, Botany for Babies, right here. Sorry, it's really smoky outside, so it's kind of hard to see. And we've got Pete the Cat, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, a very, very old favorite for all of us, right? I think I've read that one 3 or 4 times at story time by this point. Tractor Mac arrives at the farm. Before We Eat from Farm to Table, that's another one we've read at story time. And then the last book included in the literacy kit is going to be Grandpa's Tractor. And again, this is for the farm literacy kit, so there are a bunch of other ones as well. And then here is the laminated song sheet. So this one has I Wake Up My Hands, Hello Song, Bread and Butter, Ah with the little green frog, that's a fun one. Bananas Unite, The Seals on the Bus, and The Little Red Train Going Down the Track. So some of those are more appropriate for kids, like preschool to 1st grade, and some of those are definitely baby songs. So there's a good mix there for whatever age. And then there's a learning toy. So in this case, it's gonna be a little wooden puzzle that has multiple layers, so you can do, whoop, can you even see that? Maybe. Sorry, it's so blown out because it's so smoky outside. So there's a learning toy in there. So again, these are available by giving us a call and saying that you want one for curbside appointment, or starting sometime next week, hopefully you will be able to fill out a form so that on our website when you do curbside appointments, so that we can get it set up for you, and then we'll give you a call once we receive that form. So these are the early literacy kits. They're available only by giving us a call or filling out the form, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started talking about some of the books for today. Oh, thanks guys. I thought it was a fantastic idea too. Our admin team did a wonderful job putting those together, so we appreciate that a lot. All right, so we're gonna get started with our chapter book for today. This is Efrén Divided, written by Ernesto Cisneros. So this was published this year, and Ernesto Cisneros is actually a teacher, an elementary or middle school teacher, I can't remember, who lives in Santa Ana, California. So have you ever looked at your life and kind of wished that parts of it could be different? Maybe you could have a bedroom of your own for the first time, or maybe your parents could suddenly not have to work 70 hours a week and they could have time to spend with you and your siblings. Well, so does Efrén Nava. Efrén is the main character of Efrén Divided, and he lives in a teeny tiny studio apartment with his mom and his dad and his twin 5-year-old siblings, Max and Mia. And sometimes Efrén just really wants to have some free time to himself, to read some books without having to lock himself in the bathroom and plop himself down in the tub so he can get some quiet time. At least until Max or Mia knocks on the door because they have to go potty. But then one day, Efrén's life is thrown into chaos. One of his parents is caught in a neighborhood immigration raid because they are both undocumented immigrants. And that parent gets deported to Tijuana, Mexico. And suddenly, Efrén not only has to take care of himself, keep in mind he's only 12 or 13, he's in 6th grade, but he also has to take care of his twin 5-year-old siblings, Max and Mia, all on his own, while trying to keep up his exceptional grades at school and somehow make time for his best friend David and establish a new friendship with a girl named Jennifer, who is a firebrand who is someday going to be a Supreme Court judge. And so he shoulders this immense responsibility because his other parent has started working almost 24 hours a day in order to make some extra money to hopefully bring the parent that got deported back home. Oh, sorry, the backpacks aren't actually costing anything. Those are early literacy kits, and they're available by request. Oh, thank you, Kim, for answering. I appreciate that. So the other parent's working full time, so Efrén has to do all of these things in addition to just taking care of himself, right? And this is a really beautiful, poignant, kind of heartbreaking sometimes, but very optimistic book that documents Efrén's journey through this intense upheaval and emotional growth, and eventually comes to his realization that we all need to be the change that we want to see in the world. And I would classify this as a coming of age drama book. It's about 260 pages, including 19 chapters and a couple pages of a Spanish glossary of words and phrases. I would recommend this for ages maybe 8 or 9 to tween, so like up to 12 or 13, but I mean, I read it and I absolutely loved it, and I'm probably going to read it again, so I would highly encourage any older kids or interested adults to give it a shot as well. So this was Efrén Divided by Ernesto Cisneros. Hopefully I didn't give too much away, and it is available for curbside request after a 1-week quarantine because I'm touching it and without wearing a mask or gloves right now. So there's our chapter book for today. Next up, we have a graphic novel called Your Turn, Adrian. Now, the author and illustrator are Swedish, so I'm going to try to pronounce the names, but be nice if I don't get them right, okay? So it's written by Helena Öberg, and it's illustrated by Kirsten Lindström. Now, Adrian, here, let's see if I can get that closer. It's very, very, very bright. All right, Adrian is a young boy who is just a bit too quiet and reserved for his classmates' tastes. The kids at his school are not very nice at all. They actually destroy the hand-knitted hat that his mom makes for him, and they tease him when his nerves, because I get nervous too, right? When his nerves make it kind of impossible for him to answer the teacher's question in class, and all the kids tease him for it. But still, he's a very imaginative, active kid. He balances on the edge of the sidewalk when he walks home. He flips into spontaneous handstands like on the cover. He does cartwheels while he walks home. And he's very loved by mom and dad. And they don't have a whole lot of time because they work opposite hours, but somehow there's always time to cuddle in bed and read a book before you go to sleep. So one day, surprise, there's a dog waiting outside after Adrian goes into the store to get an ice cream. And this dog's name is Heidi. And she follows him home after he shares his treat with her. And then suddenly Adrian has a friend to play with and help him read at home without fear of judgment. And eventually, unfortunately, Heidi's real owner shows up to collect her, or fortunately for the owner, right? Because I'm sure she missed Heidi too. And Adrian has to learn how to look within himself for comfort. And eventually he realizes that Heidi has helped him develop a skill, reading, that makes it possible for Adrian to then turn around and help and develop a friendship with Heidi's owner, who is an elderly woman who has gone blind. So this is a beautifully illustrated graphic novel. It's got black and white pencil illustrations and also gorgeous gouache paintings. There we go. Gorgeous gouache paintings that are very colorful to grab attention for the younger crowd, right? And it has very sparse text. There's not a lot of writing in it. So I highly recommend this for those kiddos, not that they don't all have one, but those kiddos that have just a boundless imagination, because there are lots of pages that don't have any text at all. And this provides those kiddos with an opportunity to fill in the gaps all on their own. I would say for ages, I'd think probably 6 or 7 to 11 or 12, because There isn't a lot of text, so it's easier for the younger crowd to get through. But the emotional undercurrent of the story is probably going to be a little bit easier for the older kids to grasp. So that's Your Turn, Adrian, written by Helena Öberg and illustrated by Kristen Lindstrom. So on to the picture books. These are my favorite. First up, we have The Bear in My Family. This is super cute. I've read this for story time as well. Well, actually, this one is newly published. So I read one. What was the one I called? Oh, it was called The Wolf. It's a very similar story though. So if you've read The Wolf, you'll know. So this is The Bear in My Family, written by Maya Tatsukawa. And here we go. Can you see that? It's really blown out because it's so smoky outside. Sorry, guys. So have you ever wondered what it might be like to have a bear in your family? Well, the narrator of this particular book is here to tell you all about what that's like. So this bear is strong and loud and always hungry. It roars in the morning and wakes everybody up, and it makes a huge mess in the afternoon, and it steals your pancakes, and it gives the most painful noogies in the world. But then, maybe, sometimes it can be kind of nice to have a bear in the family, right? Like maybe when the playground bullies start giving you a hard time, it can be okay to have a bear who is big and loud and strong watching after you to put those bullies in their place. Or maybe it can be fun to have a strong, fast bear in the family when you're playing tag or when you want a big rib-cracking bear hug. So this book is all about the process of coming to appreciate the big, strong, loud, fast, messy, hungry bear in your family, even though they probably sometimes still make you mad. So this is a fun little romp of a book that has digital illustrations that are really nice, soothing colors. Of course, it's blown out, so you're probably not going to be able to see, but beautiful, simple digital illustrations with mild colors. The text is very playful and has kind of a rhythmic, lyrical quality. It's not rhyming, but it's like a nice cadence, so it's really soothing cadence. But there is a lot of opportunity for interaction. You can do lots of funny voices and crazy sounds with this one. So I would recommend this for a story time at home, or if you're gonna tune into any of our virtual story times. Who published this again? Oh, I won't be able to do this for a story time. It's a Penguin book. But if you request it, I would highly recommend this for story time because of all of the opportunities for interaction. So for example, you could have the kids roar every time the bear roars and very quickly dissolve into chaos. So recommended for this one for maybe the preschool, toddler through kindergarten crowd. So that's The Bear in My Family by Maya Tatsukawa. So next up, our next picture book, this one is so much fun, is called Everyone's Awake. And this is written by Colin Meloy and illustrated by Sean Harris. I forgot to say, Maya Tatsukawa also did the digital illustrations for this. Okay, so written by Colin Meloy and illustrated by Sean Harris. This is Everyone's Awake. There we go. So, very relatable content. Have you ever laid in bed at night knowing that you really, seriously, truly, 100% ought to be asleep, but there are just so many other fun, interesting, exciting things you could be doing, right? So, you and me both, first of all. And also the entire family from Everyone's Awake. So that includes mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, who also happens to be a ghost, funnily enough, the cat, the dog, some mice, some random person named Queen Sigrid III, and all 3 kids who can't possibly be asleep when there are so many distractions around the house. Now, those distractions include things like needlework and baking bread, but they also include things like the dog playing darts or the brother teaching the cat dirty words. Don't worry, those dirty words aren't included in the book, but it's still funny. So the narrator is just trying to fall asleep, but everyone and everything else in the house just seems incapable of winding down for the night. And will anyone ever be able to sleep again? No one knows. You'll have to read the book to find out. So this book is an absolute riot from the first page to the end. It has lots of high energy. The illustrations, except for that one page that I just opened to, the illustrations are really, really bright and colorful. Here we go. And there's rhyming text, which also makes it excellent for the younger crowd, because the rhyming is what helps the toddlers and the preschoolers pick up that there are such things as syllables, and it helps them kind of figure out the cadence of speaking, and helps just for early literacy. So there's rhyming text, and then what's really fun for this one, at least in my opinion, is that there are kind of Easter eggs for the adults that are reading the book hidden throughout, so keep an eye out for those. It's fun for kids and adults alike. And then one idea for making this book even more interactive than it already is maybe making an I Spy game out of the illustrations, just because there's so much going on every page. I mean, you can just see on the front page, there's a lot happening there. So while the rhyming text makes this a good one for the toddler crowd, like I said, helps with early literacy and speech development, I do think it would be really well suited to a slightly older audience as well, because it's just so busy and there's a bit of text on every page. So I'd say maybe toddler through 1st or 2nd grade, because the different ages will enjoy different stuff about it. And then finally, our last book is a non-fiction book today. Sorry, there's something really interesting going on outside, so I keep looking out there. The last one is Big Ideas for Young Thinkers, 20 Questions About Life and the Universe, written by Jamia Wilson and illustrated by Andrea Pippins. And there's the cover. Can I get my angles right? I don't know, that's the question for today. All right, so if you are, or you know someone who is, a curious little philosopher whose absolute favorite thing to say in the world is, "But why?" That's me. And I think every single kid, then this is the nonfiction book for you. So sometimes we just want to know things, or at least ask questions and receive thorough, well-rounded, unbiased answers to help us figure out our own opinions. This book is what's going to help lead kids to work their own way through questions about things like identity and life and creativity and culture, which coincidentally, not coincidentally, are the titles of the chapters in this book. So there are questions tackled in here like, how do I know I exist? And is race real? And also, what is justice? And what does beauty mean? So each question gets its own full spread. Let me find a page to show you. So for example, who am I is one of the questions. Each question gets its own full spread, so covers 2 pages and includes additional thought-provoking information like related quotes from famous people in the past or currently who have wondered the same or similar questions, as well as really bright, colorful infographics like over here. We've got quotes from Confucius, and we've got an infographic showing us a timeline of events. So no question in this book is presented as having one single answer, which I really appreciate. Instead, the author and the illustrator make it really clear that what's important to take away from this book is the reader's process of using research and philosophy and their lived experience and lived experiences from people they know and the wisdom of the people who came before us to reach our own conclusions, our own well-reasoned conclusions. So I would say this book is about at the middle range when it comes to the heaviness of the text. There's a lot to read, but there are also plenty of bold, attention-grabbing illustrations, and everything is chopped up into bite-sized 2-page pieces. So each question gets a 2-page spread. So, I mean, it's not something that I would encourage anyone to read through in one go. As with any philosophical book, I would say chop it into little pieces and take it like one day at a time. So this is an excellent choice for all of those super curious kids that I'd say have at least a 3rd grade reading comprehension. Younger kids, of course, can enjoy it as well, but some of the more ambiguous concepts, like I said, is race real? What is justice? What is beauty? How do I know I exist? Questions like that might necessitate some adult assistance for the kids at the younger side of the spectrum. So that was Big Ideas for Young Thinkers, 20 Questions About Life in the Universe by Jamia Wilson. And that was our last book for this book talk. So don't forget, we do now have available the early literacy kits. Again, this is the farm kit, but this one is not going to be available because I have to put it in quarantine now that I've touched it without gloves and breathed on it. But we do have a bunch of other ones that are available only by giving us a call and telling us you want to check one out. They are a 21-day checkout period, just like every other book in the library. And then we do need to make an appointment for you to return them when you check them out as well. Because they can't be put through the book drop. It has to be a curbside return. So these are available by giving us a call, and then sometime next week there should also be the availability of filling out a form on our website to request one at your branch. All right, so thank you for joining us for today's first episode of Kids Corner. I hope that you saw one or two books that you would like to request for curbside appointment, and if not, I will be doing this on the last Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. So hopefully once the kids are done with virtual school, and maybe next time there will be a book you're more interested in. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow if you're interested for Full Steam Ahead, which is our science, technology, engineering, art, and math episode for kids. So we will be doing an art-based project tomorrow. So that's going to be at 3 o'clock, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.